What Americans Think About Indians. When Americans think about Indians, people from India, the impressions vary widely, shaped by personal experience, education, media exposure, and global events. For many Americans, the first association is one of intellect and success, especially in STEM fields. The United States has seen an influx of highly educated Indian professionals over the last few decades: doctors, engineers, IT experts, researchers, and entrepreneurs. Names like Sundar Pichai and Satya Nadella are widely recognized, and there's a general perception that Indians are extremely capable, academically gifted, and hardworking. This often leads to a stereotype of Indians being the smart ones, or great at math and science, which, while rooted in admiration, can also flatten individual identity and put immense pressure on Indian Americans to conform to those high expectations. In daily American life, Indians are increasingly visible not just in high-skilled professions, but also as small business owners, educators, creatives, and community leaders. Many Americans interact with Indians as doctors during hospital visits, tech support agents, or professors in universities. These relationships often build a quiet sense of trust and respect, though they may not always lead to deeper cultural understanding. For instance, an American might appreciate their Indian cardiologist without understanding his Hindu background, dietary choices, or the significance of his accent. That brings us to another point. The Indian accent is frequently misunderstood, mocked, or exaggerated in American media. Characters like Apu from The Simpsons, while iconic, contributed to decades of caricatured portrayals. Only in the last 10 to 15 years have we begun to see more authentic, nuanced representations in entertainment, thanks to Indian American creators like Mindy Kaling, Hassan Minhaj, and Aziz Ansari, who use comedy and storytelling to challenge cliches and open up conversations about identity, race, and belonging. When it comes to culture, Americans have grown increasingly fascinated with India's rich traditions. Indian food has exploded in popularity across the U.S., from fine dining curry houses to fast casual biryani joints. Dishes like butter chicken, tikka masala, naan, and chai lattes have made their way into the American culinary vocabulary, sometimes with questionable authenticity. Similarly, Indian festivals like Diwali and Holi are now celebrated in public schools, college campuses, and even at the White House. Many Americans are drawn to the visual and spiritual vibrance of Indian culture: colorful saris, intricate henna designs, Bollywood dancing, and yoga. But with this appreciation comes a risk of cultural appropriation, where aspects of Indian culture are adopted without full context or respect. Wearing a bindi to Coachella, for instance, may be seen as trendy, but for many Indians, it carries religious and social meaning. Still, these cultural exchanges, when approached with sincerity, help bridge gaps and foster curiosity. Religiously, most Americans are still learning about the diversity within Indian belief systems. While Hinduism is often associated with India, there are also large populations of Muslims, Sikhs, Christians, Buddhists, and Jains in India and among Indian Americans. Unfortunately, after 9/11, many South Asians, especially Sikhs wearing turbans, were wrongly targeted and harassed due to ignorance and racial profiling. Incidents of hate crimes, discrimination, and casual racism persist, especially when language or appearance marks someone as foreign. Some Americans conflate Indians with other ethnic groups, or stereotype them based on skin tone, attire, or media-fueled assumptions. However, surveys show that as Americans get to know Indian individuals personally, their views tend to become far more positive. It's in classrooms, offices, neighborhoods, and friend circles where meaningful relationships are formed, beyond stereotypes. Politically, India's growing influence on the world stage has impacted how Americans view Indians. U.S.-India relations have become stronger, especially in areas like defense, technology, and climate cooperation. Leaders like Narendra Modi are often covered in American news, with mixed reactions. Some Americans admire India's rise as a global power, while others raise concerns about nationalism, minority rights, and freedom of speech within India. These international dynamics influence not only how India is perceived as a country, but also how its people are viewed abroad. For example, American perceptions of Indian immigrants may be affected by headlines about India's internet bans, border conflicts, or electoral controversies. However, most Americans tend to separate individual Indians from geopolitical narratives. especially when it comes to Indian Americans who have grown up in the U.S. Generational differences also play a huge role in shaping perception. Older Americans, especially those who grew up with limited exposure to South Asian communities, may still carry outdated views. They might associate India with poverty, overpopulation, or mysticism. Meanwhile, younger generations, raised in multicultural environments, are more likely to see Indians as classmates, co-workers, YouTubers, or social media influencers. Indian culture is now part of the digital mainstream. Whether it's watching an Indian wedding dance go viral on TikTok, following an Indian fashion blogger on Instagram, or binging Indian matchmaker reality shows on Netflix. This digital presence has done a lot to normalize Indian identity among American youth. Despite this growing visibility, challenges remain. The model minority myth, which casts Indians and other Asian Americans as uniformly successful, non-disruptive, and upwardly mobile, ignores the struggles many face. Indian Americans face mental health challenges, family pressure, racial isolation, and income inequality within the community. Not all Indian immigrants are engineers or doctors. Many work in service jobs, drive taxis, or run small stores. These stories often go untold, contributing to a false sense that all Indians are doing well. This perception can sometimes cause resentment or even erasure, especially when other marginalized groups feel that Indian Americans are unfairly privileged or silent on issues of social justice. On the flip side, many Americans genuinely admire the values they associate with Indian communities: family cohesion, respect for elders, educational discipline, and a strong sense of community. These values often resonate across cultural lines and form the foundation for mutual respect. When Americans attend an Indian wedding or participate in a holy celebration, they often express awe at the richness and depth of tradition. These cross-cultural experiences can be transformative. However, others may find certain aspects confusing or overwhelming, such as strict vegetarianism, arranged marriage customs, or religious rituals unfamiliar to Western norms. The key is exposure, empathy, and dialogue. In universities, the Indian student population is one of the largest international groups in the U.S. These students bring not just academic talent, but also cultural vibrancy, leading clubs, organizing cultural nights, and participating in research that contributes to global progress. Many Americans who study or work alongside Indian students come away with a broader worldview. At the same time, some Indian students face social isolation or racism, especially in less diverse regions. Navigating identity in these environments can be difficult, especially when trying to balance cultural pride with the desire to assimilate. Indian Americans, especially second-generation youth, often straddle two worlds. They speak fluent English, are raised on both Bollywood and Beyoncé, and understand American slang and Indian traditions. For many Americans, this hybrid identity is a window into globalized culture. There's growing admiration for Indian Americans who confidently express their roots while succeeding in American society. Still, questions like, "Where are you really from?" or assumptions about arranged marriages and caste can reflect the limited understanding that persists. In the end, American views of Indians are complex and evolving. They range from admiration to ignorance, from curiosity to bias, from deep appreciation to lingering stereotypes. Much depends on exposure, education, and the willingness to listen. As the Indian American population continues to grow and diversify, and as India itself plays an increasingly central role on the world stage, these perceptions will continue to evolve. More than ever, there is an opportunity and a need for genuine cultural dialogue, empathy, and understanding. And with each new connection, each story shared, and each wall broken down, Americans and Indians alike move a little closer towards seeing each other, not through the lens of difference, but through the shared values of humanity.